I didn't hear it hoot. Does it hoot anymore?
I think just when you start, like when I plug it in, you're good to go.
Okay, I'd like to call the meeting to order, please. Everybody rise, if we would.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, welcome everybody to the November 29th Board of Commissioner meeting. Roll call, please.
Gross.
Present?
Goldred.
Present.
Lonsberger.
Present.
Sykes.
Present.
Overmeyer.
Present. Open meetings law is posted on the south side of our chambers, on the website, also on the wall outside of our chambers. Proof of publication was in the News Times the 23rd. It was also on our website. Review and approve the minutes of the November 15th Board of Commissioners meeting.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Thank you, guys. Any discussion? Roll call.
Sykes.
Yes.
Lonsberger.
Yes.
Gross.
Yes.
Goldred.
Yes.
Overmeyer.
Yes, need to adopt the agenda.
Move to adopt today's agenda as presented?
Second.
Thank you, guys. Any other discussion? Roll call.
Gross.
Yes.
Goldred.
Yes.
Lonsberger.
Yes.
Sykes.
Yes.
And Overmeyer.
Yes. Okay, moving on. We have a full agenda today, so we'll get through our officials first. Do we have anything, Art?
Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
Morning, Harvey Kime, Highway Superintendent. Don't have much to report other than we were still blading roads, we were still hauling gravel, and keeping things going forward is basically what we're doing with the roads. And of course, then Mother Nature decided we need to do something different today, so that's kind of where we're at.
Do we have access to gravel yet? Are they?
Oh, yes, yes. We will haul as long as we can get it out of the trucks,
Okay.
or unless they shut us down because they can't load it.
Okay.
So,
So are they done pumping? Are they still pumping?
some of them are still pumping.
Are they? Okay,
So, yes. I haven't heard anybody completely shut down yet.
okay, good deal. Yes, sir.
We do anything on blacktops this morning as far as salt,
Had them out
sand,
there
and
right
gravel?
now, putting
Okay.
a little sand and gravel at the intersection.
Okay, very good.
So,
Slippery.
or
Okay.
salt and sand, not
Salt and
gravel.
Uh-huh.
Okay, Daniel.
I was just gonna say, put a plug in, we're down 3 people,
Yes,
so if anybody wants to work for the roads department, to put
absolutely,
their app in.
absolutely. Always looking,
Okay, thanks, Harv.
you bet.
Any other officials? Chris?
Chris Johnson, Deputy County Attorney. I'll make this very quick. We finally got the hearing dates for our TERC, the Tax Equalization and something commission that I can't think of right now. Those hearings are single commissioner hearings. They are going to be heard, one in January in Lincoln and one in March in Kearney. They are probably going to have to get moved around due to pre-existing court dates. But as of right now, that's where they're at. So not a whole lot to do for right now. There will be stuff to do in preparation for that hearing or those hearings. But just to let the board know, we did finally get those notifications. I'll make sure to get copies of those notifications down to the clerk's office, emailed out to everybody, just so that everybody's aware of it. But that is something that the county attorney's office and the assessor's office will work together and handle.
Are those from this year's protest? We didn't carry any over from the previous year, did we?
I believe, if memory serves, that these are 2021 tax protests that are finally making their way to a hearing.
Okay,
And so it's something where it's nothing that we did. It's nothing that the protesters did. There are 2 different protesters. It's more there's a backlog of TERC.
okay, all right.
And that's been a common complaint, whether it's the assessors, taxpayer, legislatures, why are they, you know, what's the problem, what can we do to, you know, speed this along, because it shouldn't take this long to resolve
Right.
these issues. But
Well, and it sounds like they're starting to move more towards a federal court type system where everything goes to a single hearing rather than a full hearing first. And then that person who conducts the single hearing can either resolve the matter in its entirety or can then recommend it to a larger committee hearing. So if that's the case, then rather than having one hearing with 3 Turk commissioners, we can have 3 hearings with each one, and so that should speed things up, hopefully. Both of these are single commissioner hearings, so that should speed things up significantly, and hopefully that means that at least we'll be within a year, rather than 18 months to 2 years.
Kind of like the referee system some counties use.
Yes, absolutely. Lancaster County for child support, if they tried to do judges for child support all the time, it'd make everything amuck, but as is, they do the referee and everything just moves smoothly.
Is that everything?
That's it.
Thanks, Chris.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
I have one question.
Sorry.
I just want to know, is there any progress on the zoning for solar?
The zoning for solar, I have the information of the 4 individuals who are on the zoning board. I have proposed solar regulations, proposed wind regulations, and proposed CO2 pipeline regulations. We're going to be getting those scheduled hopefully yet this week, at least the meeting scheduled on the books. Now that I've got the contact information for everybody, our chairman was kind enough to give me most of it, and I found a little bit in scouring through one of the previous county attorney's files.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. Anybody else from official? I think we've pretty much got them covered. That isn't on the agenda. Okay, public forum. Anybody from the public like to speak at this point in time? Okay, keep moving. There's no reason for executive session that I'm aware of or general assistance cases, so we're on to payroll and vendor claims. You guys had an opportunity to look through everything.
I think it was under roads.
I was gonna ask Harvey about that one this morning, and I forgot.
Lincoln
Well,
Creek
one of them
Electrical,
anyway.
that one?
Which one?
$20,000, Lincoln.
Yeah, Lincoln Creek. I assume that's for the Benedict, building that's been wired.
Yes.
Okay.
Completed.
That's what I was wondering
It's
too.
not completely completed, but that is the work done up till now. There's still a few things left to do.
It's the only question I had, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah, it was fairly overall low amount.
Yeah.
And finally, we're starting to see the detentions,
Mhm.
much smaller amount, which is nice.
Mr. Chairman, I would move that we approve the payroll and vendor claims as presented.
Second.
Thank you, guys. Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Volkman,
Yes.
Mossberger.
Yes.
Sykes.
Yes.
Gross.
Yes.
And Overmeyer.
Yes. No funding transfers that I'm aware of.
Right.
Everything seemed to be sitting pretty good. Next on the docket is meet with Cornhusker United Way and Southeast Nebraska Collaborative about a nonprofit. Is anybody here? I don't think anybody's here regarding that one. We'll go by just in case the weather has slowed them up. Next, discuss an act on potential extension office shutdown over the Christmas holiday. That Tanya isn't here. This is something that I guess we can talk about. I think we a couple years ago, I don't think we did it last year. A couple years ago, they asked, the university is shut down over that week, and we allowed it at that point in time to shut down. It's something that they take either their vacation or whatever. It's not a shutdown paid. I know there was some discussion at that time about whether we should allow one of our county offices to stay open or not. And I mean, they're not doing much this time of year. I don't have huge heartburn over it. Like I say, it is not paid. It is something that they have to use up their time if they want to take this time off. So, but they're asking for permission to do that once again, like they did a couple years ago. Any comments?
I mean, just like you said, I mean, the university's shut down and they're not doing much, so, I mean, I guess I'm all right with it if they're wanting to take their vacation and use it, or unpaid. either
Well,
way.
obviously, there'll be a holiday
Right,
in there,
Yeah.
a couple of them. I believe will observe Christmas and New Year's on the Monday following
okay.
this
right.
year, so it'll be
Yep.
the 22nd and the 2nd when we'll observe those days. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, can they afford it after paying that coach $74 million?
I would assume so. As you know, that there's 2 employees, obviously, through the university out there, the rest are ours. And I believe she is down 1 currently also. So, one of her help turned in a notice, I think, is coming up pretty quick.
I think the
if
last
not
day
already.
was, yeah.
So,
They-
she's down help right now too. Any other comments?
Do we want
Just
to do
a
an
motion,
act
yeah,
right now?
just a
So
motion to
I would
allow.
make a motion to allow the extension office to shut down over the Christmas holiday.
Second.
Thank you, guys. Any other discussion?
And we didn't know specifically what days those would be.
Did you get anything in writing?
No, I just got an email.
In between the
asking.
holidays is what,
Mhm.
when I talked to Tanya just a little bit about it at the Connect the Dots, it was in between the holidays, so.
Thanksgiving and New Year?
Just Christmas and New Year's. I assume they're still out there. I haven't been out there lately. Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Rhodes,
Yes.
Sykes,
Yes.
Osborne,
Yes.
Holgren,
Yes.
and Orland.
Yes. Okay, next up, Mitch, we'll have yours next. Discuss and act on Weed Control Authority Board roster. This is something that
Here's Tanya, you want to talk to her?
Mitch, I'm so weak.
we just got done. I'm sorry, Mitch. We just got done.
It took me, I was the road
That's-
rat, I'm sorry.
That's all right.
You did, what did?
Yes.
Okay.
We had one,
Thank you.
no, hold on. We had one question.
Yes,
Specific dates of closure.
I was gonna, so it would be the Monday after Christmas, just that week,
Okay.
29th through the,
Second then would be, the second would be
Yep.
also a paid
yeah,
holiday.
29th through the 2nd, yeah, we open back up on the 3rd.
Understand the roads were rough out there. so.
Took me an hour, so,
right.
I even left early, sorry.
No worries.
Well, thank you.
Yes. Sorry, Mitch, go
That's
ahead.
good. And I'm doing these early this year because I'm having knee surgery the 12th of December. But instead of doing these in January, I'm doing them now to get them approved, hopefully.
Okay,
My infestations, my muscle was down this year. Of course, the drought helped with that a little bit. So, I did have a little bit increase in my Canada thistle, and I did find a couple patches of Phragmites. So I got all them sprayed, and I had 2 open files, only because the Canada thistle was, or the leafy spurge over by Waco has been around since I've been here. I've been spraying it every year, but of course I can't kill it very well because there's beans around there, so I can't use real good chemical to kill them. And the timing's not right either. And so, he wrote me up for that, and I kinda argued about it, but, so I guess next year, hopefully he'll close it. And then there's a patch of Phragmites over by the Waco bear plant that he riding down the highway and he's seen them over there, so he just wrote me up on them. So I talked to the bear representative over there, and we got together and he sprayed them, so hopefully next year those will be closed out too. It takes a while to kill though, because takes a while. And I've sent out 36 notices this year, 2 only this fall because nothing was coming up. So overall, my weed infestation has stayed the same or gone down, except for the 2 Canathus and leafy spurge and Phragmites. I guess I do want to ask about the control roster is okay. I know I can't make, or it's not gonna be really finalized till after the 5th of January, right? Is that correct, or sometime in January? Can you find somebody?
that's gonna be my question for you, Mitch. When this board authorizes this roster today, that roster is not right.
Okay,
Because you obviously, you don't have Kurt on there, you got a one on there that got elected, but he's
Right.
not a commissioner yet.
correct.
So those would not be accurate. If this is what you're asking for this today, to be
Well-
authorized. So then now, is it gonna be able to be turned in
Sure.
early?
Well, here's my response to that. I talked to the ag inspector who grades these, and he said you can turn them in and write on the board roster what you got now, you can turn them in, and then you can send a revised edition in January,
Okay,
and you'll still be okay. So to get them in before the 31st, or before I go in to my surgery, I would ask to approve them now, and then I can put a note to my ag inspector saying that this is gonna be updated in January. And this is the common procedure that they do with everybody. If they have a change in the board roster, they ask us to send the right revised edition in later, after the board's all approved and everything.
okay. Go ahead, Daniel.
I would just say that that's fine, I think if we do that, but if we do approve it today, it would have to be the board members that are on the board today.
Correct.
So we'd have to change this, like the vacant seat, we'd wanna put the correct, board person on there.
Right.
And the, Mr. Bear's seat, we'd need to have Bill's name on
Right.
there.
And that will come after you guys appoint the new commissioner. After we get all that done, then you guys sign the right edition, then I can send it in before
Well,
January
Mitch,
31st.
Mitch, the problem with that is this board doesn't appoint the new commissioner, the clerk, treasurer, and county attorney do. And so, you know, that could be end of January, early February, because they have 45 days after vacancy to do that. So, I mean, I was like Groth said, I would just put the current membership down and then, just go from there. I mean, because I mean, membership can change even without elections. We've seen that on this board before, so.
Could you just ratify it then with
The new board could,
the new board?
once it's all seated, could probably, but yeah, I wouldn't, to use a January deadline on that, I wouldn't, I'd be a little cautious on that. It might be February before this board's all complete, so.
Unless we can do it twice. I mean, obviously, there's gonna be one, you know,
Right.
for sure on swear-in day in January, if we could do the, you know, adjustments to the roster twice. The only other thing, the last question I got is, when is this due?
This one I can send in now, if you guys approve it. All I have to do on the board roster is put a note in there saying that this will be revised again in January after the new board is hired or set.
Well, it'd be like.
I'd say
Kurt said.
February.
Yeah, it'd be
Yeah,
probably,
which he said was fine, as long as you got a note saying that's gonna be revised later on.
okay,
This present one will pass, okay? Even the board roster will pass. I just gotta put a note in here saying that this is gonna be updated in January and February.
okay. So back to the fact, when is it due?
Because there's a due by January 31st.
It's due by 31st, okay,
Right.
that's what I was
So-
going for,
But with me going now, I mean, this
I-
can be approved now,
right,
and then the board roster can be re-evaluated in January when everybody's on the new board.
yeah, I mean, like I say, it could happen twice, that's why I was wondering,
Yeah,
compared to your knee surgery, when it was due.
sure,
Okay, so,
Yeah.
because you'll probably still be in rehab, obviously,
yeah,
the end of January, you should be getting close, 8 weeks or so.
yeah, yeah.
Okay,
All right.
catch
so-
anything else, guys, so what we'll need is, we'll need you to, update that
Okay.
before I sign it.
Well, you can sign this one now.
Well, Mitch, what we're trying to say is, there's two, on the board roster that you've presented to us,
Right,
it's incorrect for what we could approve today. If we approve it today, we have to put, Bill Baumsberger and Kurt Bolgren on there.
And strike Stan.
Because you have Mr. Bear on here, and he is not currently a member of the board. He's been elected, but he hasn't been sworn on to this board yet. And so that's where we're saying, if we are gonna approve it now before your surgery, we'll have to put this current board on this roster.
And then in February, have the updates.
Right, he can write revised on there, and then we can get that information, so, I would assume if we entertain a motion today, it'll be with the authority to sign once the corrected names are on there.
okay, so if I change this back, what do you want me to do as far as being able to send this in for my surgery?
Well,
All you
I-
have
I-
to do is get the corrected names on the roster and then I'll sign it.
I mean, can I change it back and then just have you sign this?
Just,
Not going
just
to
put
the
the
board
people that are
meeting?
at this table right now, put their names on that sheet.
Right,
Sign it with the note saying it'll be changed in February.
right, but I'm asking, do I have to go to a board meeting again? 'Cause I
No.
won't be able to.
No.
No,
Okay.
we'll approve it today with those
Okay,
names.
okay.
Mr.
Alright.
Chairman, I would make a motion that we approve or that we authorize the chairman to sign the noxious weed control plan with the, current, members listed on Weed Control Authority Board roster.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. Any other questions? Roll call.
Rhodes,
Yes.
Sykes,
Yes.
Osborne,
Yes.
Milburn,
Yes.
Overbaugh.
Yes.
All right.
Clear as mud. If you get those names changed before the end of the meeting, then I can
Okay, all right.
I can sign it.
Thank
Okay,
you.
thank you. Okay, discuss an act on hiring outside counsel for completing the tax foreclosures. I assume, Chris, you're gonna speak to this today.
That's me, again, Chris Johnson, Deputy County Attorney. We have a number of tax foreclosures where we purchased as York County some of the past due taxes. Those have come due. We are now in the foreclosure timeframe. That being said, between the amount of work that's going on up in our office and just the specialization that the two attorneys that we have up there have, it makes more sense to have somebody who does real estate law on a regular basis to do the foreclosures. It's something that either Mr. Olson or myself could do, but it would take us probably somewhere in the realm of 30 to 40 hours to get something done, where a real estate attorney might be able to do it in 3 to 5 hours with forms that they've already got. At the end of the day, just because I'm the world's best bean farmer doesn't mean I know anything about growing corn. And that's kind of where we sit right here. We've got a lot of background in a lot of different things, but real estate law is not one of them. So we would request the authority be given to a member of the board, whether that be the chairman of the board or somebody else, to engage with outside counsel to perform the tax foreclosures and conduct the sheriff's sales pursuant to law.
Does your office have a recommendation?
So it's something that we would need to speak to who might be available. That's why instead of specifically asking that a law firm or an attorney be appointed, I would request just that authority be granted to somebody so that then we could start having discussions about who's available to actually get it done. Last thing we would want to do is, you know, we're doing this so that we can do it quickly, engage an attorney who can't get it done until March or April. We'd rather maybe make some calls, start feeling around for if somebody might be willing to do so and get the best price for, best bang for the buck.
Do we have a time frame on this?
I don't believe so, but at the end of the day, every day that we wait is an extra day that they might be able to reclaim.
Okay. Any questions for Chris this morning? Daniel?
Just a couple, let's see, what's my first question? Tax foreclosures, have we done those, has York County done those in the past?
The last time that I can tell that we would have done them, it would have been Candace Dick, who is now Candace Barons, who would have done them back in somewhere 2013 to 2014.
And do we know what the process was at that point?
Generally, yes. We've also reached out to Hamilton County, Seward County, as well as to Fillmore County, some of whom outsource it, some of whom have sent us forms, have sent us blocks and things like that. But at the end of the day, I'm still recreating the wheel. And the last thing that I would want to do is put a cloud on a title that the county is selling.
Kurt?
So you're just asking for permission to look for somebody, but this board would ultimately approve that, or you're looking for permission from the board to be able to approve that attorney?
I would be looking for permission from the board to authorize a board member to engage and contract with that outside individual with the advice and counsel of the county attorney's office.
Okay.
So we can maybe scout out different possibilities. We do know the attorneys, but ultimately it would be up to a member of the board to negotiate a price, to sign a contract, or to engage with that outside counsel.
Okay. And then maybe when you're talking to the outside counsel or in your research on this, could you find out what our options are with these foreclosed on properties with the county? Are we required to sell them at auction? Can we hold on to them for a while? Or could you find out what we can do with these things?
I can double check. Again, I'm not a real estate attorney.
Right.
My understanding is that once we foreclose upon them, they are the county's to do with what the county wants to do.
Okay.
That being said, most of it is within the city limits of the city of York, or I think there's one in Gresham.
Okay. Okay.
Obviously, another part we have to look at is a cost. You know, this is something that
If
we didn't budget for, and there's still gonna be an expense, obviously, you know, so.
If we were to do this in the county attorney's office, it would be free to the county. Again, that being said, it's recreating the wheel. I pride myself on being a very good attorney. I know Mr. Olson does the same, but we also, part of being good, I think, is knowing when you're outside your wheelhouse.
Okay, any other questions this morning?
So, the other thing I would mention is, if this board were to authorize a commissioner to engage these attorneys and speak with them, and nothing comes back as palatable finance-wise, it's not necessarily something that we would be required to then engage with them. It's something that you could always come back to our office and say, well, that's a ridiculous expense, figure it out, Chris.
Jack?
Do you have an hourly wage that we would be talking to these attorneys about?
So that's the thing about it's contract negotiation. So you could say, as a county, we're willing to pay you the county appointed rate, which would be $95 an hour. You could say, we want to engage you at your regularly hourly rate, which for most attorneys in this area is going to be somewhere between $225, $275 per hour. It could be that they quote a flat price. That's what the negotiations would be for. I will say that most of the attorneys in this area do bill at an hourly rate between $225 and $300 an hour. And that's just our local people. Obviously, if we go to Lincoln, price is gonna jump.
So there's another meeting in 2 weeks. Are you anticipating this to be done in 2 weeks, or?
So I would think that the negotiations, the search would be done in 2 weeks. The other alternative, I guess, that I was thinking of would be just authorizing that contract negotiation, the signature, everything to go through as of today.
Now, then the like chairman said, where are we gonna pay this bill out or to?
And therein lies the rub.
It depends upon what the bill is, in my opinion.
Now,
I mean, obviously, we have miscellaneous that we have the availability of that, and that's why we have it, you know, for stuff that shows up. But it needs to be within realistic, so.
I'm a little bit leery on, going outside, spending the money. I would be in favor of, exploring the option. I don't know that I'm in favor of now just saying, yeah, whatever we can get negotiated, let's do. So I might be in favor of, you know, going out, pursuing, seeing what we could come up with for a contract, but then having it brought back to the board for approval. I mean, I think I could get on board with that so that we can kind of have an idea of what it was gonna cost if we authorize it.
and our next meeting is, what date is that?
The 13th.
13th?
And then the 27th.
So what about this? How about instead of acting on it, county attorney's office, whether that be me or Mr. Olson, starts exploring some of those options, starts getting a price range and maybe suggestions in mind, bring it back in 2 weeks, or just say, we're gonna buckle down and figure it out.
And
Go ahead.
is
Kurt.
the rush, not the rush, but the time sensitivity on this due to, if they pay their taxes on it, then it's not foreclosed on, or,
Essentially.
okay.
So
Which is not a
there-
problem if they pay their taxes on it, and that's
Right.
a,
Well, then the
benefit
county's
to the
getting
county.
taxes, fantastic.
right.
And we get that 14% mandatory interest rate. The other thing that we need to look at too is if we were to get these and sell them at sheriff's sale, anything that we get above and beyond what the county paid for it is gonna be profit coming to the county. Profit being the wrong word since we're a municipal corporation.
Go ahead, Jack. Or Jack, Bill, sorry.
I've been called on it.
Yeah?
You just, if we stayed in-house, what would your, I heard your comment say we would be reinventing the wheel. What do you mean?
So what I mean by that is, I'm going to learn real estate law in an effort to perform a single item. It's something that,
You're not familiar with?
I use the farming analogy. You know, if you've got somebody who does a really, really great job at growing corn, doesn't mean that he knows anything about raising cattle. And I'm a hell of a corn grower, but I'm missing out on the cattle portion here. So I've got to learn it all from the get-go, which is not impossible. It just means that it's something that's going to need to happen.
Guys, at this time, I would say that why don't we work with Chris and Gary, and why don't we postpone action on this till the end of December, not in 2 weeks, but end of December. I know sometimes we think that we can get things done in 2 weeks and then we can't, so let's give ourselves the month of December to get things figured out. And then we'll bring it back at that point in time to this board, if that sounds all right.
I would make that motion.
Thank you. Second. Thank you. Any other discussion?
I just would like to ask, there's several attorneys in town that do handle, Kelly Thomas with the college and some other people around that do handle, real estate sales, and that's what we're
Yes.
talking about, basically, right?
Yes, we're talking about first exploring our local options. If the local options, for whatever reason, are untenable, whether they just can't do it, won't do it, or they're quoting a price too high, then we expand the search range.
Okay.
But yes, we are talking local individuals.
Any other? Okay, roll call, please.
Rhodes,
Yes.
Osborne,
Yes.
Sykes,
Yes.
Holbrook,
Yes.
Oldmeyer.
Yes. Thank you, Chris.
Thank you.
Okay, and at this time, we're just a couple minutes past 9 o'clock. Harv, did we get some, got a couple?
Got 2 bids.
Thank you. Discuss and act on bids for box culvert to replace bridge on Road K in between roads 4 and 5. Everybody probably knows just exactly where that's at, right?
Yes, right west of McCool.
It's to the north end of that mile, is it not?
Yes, it's north of the pavement, kind of toward the north end.
Okay, the first bid is from Van Kirk, you said Van Kirk, didn't you? And the bid bond is attached. Harv, you got any, this is another one that we have a deadline on.
Yes.
Okay, total bid price is $327,776. Contingency bid items is crush rock and base course for $7,728.
Sorry, Mr. Chairman, one more time on that 7,000.
$7,728.
Thank you.
And this was I don't see it right offhand, this was a June 1
Yes.
completion date, right?
Yes, this has to be done by June to be paid out of this budget.
Is there a completion date on here, Mr. Chairman?
I did not see that.
That's the way it was
Okay.
bid out.
Okay.
What?
That was bid that way.
Yes, it was.
It wasn't written in. If it's typed in, I'm not, my eyes aren't getting right to it.
That's fine, it was advertised as such.
Next one looks like it's from General Excavation. Bid bond is attached, I assume?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, total bid price is $347,988.62. 347,988.62. And then the contingency bid item is the crush rock for base course is $8,433.75. Do you wish to look these over, Harvey?
Yes, I would.
That is listed on there. Okay,
Thank you.
thank you, Harv. Okay, while he's looking that over, we'll go to discuss and act on drawdown number 6. Everybody had that in their packet. Looks like there was two in there, right? If I remember right, one was the MIT and then Ken's Roofing or
Kids
something like that.
Roofing for 10,100 and MIT for 946.
Okay,
Total of 1146. $11,046.
any questions of that today's guys?
And we did receive the money from the state on the 18th.
Move to approve, Mr. Chairman.
Thanks, Bill. Got your name right this time at least.
It's okay.
I'm working on it.
I second it.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Bosworth,
Yes.
Sykes?
Yes.
Gross?
Yes.
Colgan?
Yes.
Overmeyer?
Yes. Okay, next up, discuss and act on designating a county newspaper and county website for publication purposes for 2023, an annual thing that we do.
Mr. Chairman, I would move that we designate the York News Times as the county newspaper for purposes of publishing notices, and then also that we include our county website as a place for publishing notices for business being conducted in 2023.
Second.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Yes.
Sykes?
Yes.
Bosworth?
Yes.
Gross?
Yes.
Overmeyer?
Yes. We got 5 minutes. I don't know that we're gonna be able to do the juvenile diversion in 5 minutes' time. Nobody has showed up. There was somebody back there, but nobody took off. Tristan, why don't you come forward and explain, it, and we'll get started on it at least, then we can, once we get to 9:15, we can always jump back to it, so. Do we have any questions? Everybody remember what he was here about?
Do you have an updated application if you guys want to see that?
Okay,
Nothing much changed on it besides just some wording, same price and everything. And then if you guys approve it today, I'll get it submitted today and hopefully would know if we get it by next week. Maybe
Okay.
tomorrow.
And you don't have an updated figure what, I know you said the last time it was first come, first served. As far as you know, the
Right.
money is still available,
Yeah.
okay? Is there any questions for Tristan at this time? Daniel?
I was just wondering if we were able to connect with, Jill to see if there was a process for accepting this, or if we had to open the budget again.
Well, we can work that one of two ways. There is a process to amend the budget, and that can be done, with a public hearing, and that, you know, it's 4 days' notice, you know, ahead of times, and then, of course, there's forms that has to be filled out for the state auditor's office that shows just exactly why we're doing it, you know, in the process, and go through. The form will look like one of our deck pages on our budget. So unless we feel comfortable doing it, there will be a cost associated with that for Jill and her office to do it. And that cost is estimated to be somewhere around $1,000 plus the publication. So that is a way. The part that was giving her just a little bit of how do we do it is the fact these are wages being paid. If it was just a grant coming in for something purchased and going out, that's easier, but now we're starting to talk about payroll.
Yep.
So if we could run payroll through our miscellaneous account, 970, and I just talked to the clerk's office about that today, she doesn't have any idea, we're assuming we can. We could run that payroll through miscellaneous, and because this is a one-time, 6-month type deal, the only adverse effect to the miscellaneous account is then that takes $17,000 worth of spending out of there, because we still are gonna be restricted unless we amend our budget. So we'll take whatever this wage is, probably on miscellaneous, and we won't be able to spend that much money.
Right.
Is everybody, so that would be the easiest way to do it.
Sure.
And, you know, is there room in there? Probably is.
Right.
You know, it isn't gonna cost taxpayers anything, we just wouldn't have the availability for things come up like hiring outside attorneys, you know, I mean, there's only so much in
Correct.
there that's a little bit extra.
Right.
This would take 17,000 of that out of that mix, so, that, if we decide to go that way, that would probably be what I would recommend that we do versus amending the budget.
Right.
Yes.
Question, the amount, $17,103, being, you brought up this being wages, that would cover all of the hourly rate, the insurance, the, FICA taxes, all of that, correct?
Yep, so, the only thing with the part-time is just the wages and the FICA, so,
Sure.
yeah. That's all figured in there, and, yeah, no, life or anything like that, so.
And there's no additional cost to the county, obviously.
Yeah.
You know, any other county or entity that does a budget is gonna be in the same position we're in.
Right,
If,
right.
if they want this money,
Yep.
they're gonna have to do some finagling around to make it work, otherwise they're gonna have to amend their budget. That's just the way it works, and the state knows that,
Right,
you know, so.
and.
I guess if it's there and we wanna use it, there is an option for us to use it. It just depends upon what this board feels like. Go ahead.
Knowing that this is a short-term, grant, what do you envision if we hire somebody in January and, we have the funds here to fund that position through June? Now we have to reapply for the grant money, and we don't get as much next year. This amount isn't available. What would you envision with that employee?
Right, I have kind of thought of that, and, just hoping we would get the amount to cover it. Otherwise, I would think of either cutting my wages down and their wages down to fit both of us in, or, seeing what they would be comfortable with, if it would be just a reduction of hours, or, if it would be eliminating the whole thing, kind of just, yeah, up to how much we would get in grants for that fiscal year. So a couple avenues we could take, just depends on how much we get from the state and everything, so.
Very good. With this position, I mean, we all like to have more people to help us out. In your current, workload, is this position necessary, or is it just a benefit because we have some, grant money available?
I would say, both. On the necessary part, truancy rates have kind of been up. I could kind of pull up the numbers, but, just meeting with parents and figuring attendance plans, that's the thing that has kind of taken a lot of time. Data entry is another big thing, and updating for meetings every week and stuff like that is the necessary part. And then the beneficial part is we have the 3 parts to our program: the truancy, diversion, and juvenile support. I've kind of not been able to pay as much attention to the juvenile support, such as creating like food drives or clothing drives, reaching out to families and connecting them with community resources such as coalition and stuff like that. So just adding that 25 hours would help us kind of revise program details, able to kind of get those community resources spread out and stuff like that, so.
Okay. I'm a little leery in, I mean, it is nice that we have the grant money to supplement it. When we were going through the budget process, we had a lot of offices that were requesting more, additional staff, and those offices were denied that additional staff. It is nice that there wouldn't be a cost to the county because it is a grant, funded, but, that's kind of where I'm sitting right now.
Yep, yeah, I think just with that, you know, extra 25 being, kind of me coming in and replacing Rochelle, I've kind of been throwing in some new program, techniques and case managing and stuff like that, which maybe in the past hasn't, taken up a lot of time, and just making sure we're keeping good records has kind of been one of my top priorities, and I think that's kind of been the main workload of kind of everything, and with the influx of diversion and truancy, so, yeah.
Guys, I hate to cut it. I figured we'd run over a little bit. Tristan, I do have a couple more questions also, but we're going to have to jump to our 9:15 for public hearing, and then we'll just ask you to stick around to talk a little bit more, please. It is just a couple minutes past 9:15, and hold a public hearing for the purpose of Section 147F of the Internal Revenue Code of 1986 as amended regarding the issuance of bonds by the county for the benefit of York University. And this time, Todd, I believe you're the only one here representing York University. We are holding a public hearing to allow people to comment on the fact of us doing this. This is something we have done in the past and one other time since I've been here, and that is to, for the York Hospital. Go ahead.
Yeah, proof of publication for this hearing?
I
Or
don't have proof of publication.
was there did we need to have one?
Todd, do you know the answer to that?
I believe Colleen would have made that happen. Colleen Duncan could not be here because of the weather, and she would have been able to answer those legal.
And I do have her contact number if we would like to call her. Let me see if she had sent me.
I'm fine with just, you know, making sure we get it after the meeting here, so.
Okay.
Due to the weather
Yes,
and everything.
that would be part of the paperwork that she would
Okay.
have and verify.
Garrett, I got it right here. It's a TEFRA hearing notice.
Yeah.
Yep, so we do have that.
Very good.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. So at this time, we will, if the public has any comments regarding this, they sure have an opportunity to come up. Todd, if you have any comments, you are part of the public, you sure can come up. Name, please, and
Yes.
address for the record.
Todd Sheldon, 620 North Florida Avenue, York, Nebraska. I'm Vice President of Finance at York University, and just wanted to say, yes, I am publicly for this and available as a part of the university to answer any questions. This is a benefit for a nonprofit that is on the law books that allow this type of public funding that gives us a reduced rate for tax exemption. And Union Bank is our lender that has agreed to lend us. And it's refinancing our current bonds that were used to build our apartments, and now we're combining that with a debt that we did to purchase the Mahoney House and get that renovated, and adding $500,000 to finish some renovations of our current Thomas Hall. And all of that is included in this bond. Thank you.
Thank you, Todd. Anybody else from the public? Well, we are over the time a little bit, so if nobody is here, I'm gonna go ahead and close the public hearing at this time. Discuss an act on the resolution authorizing the issuance of revenue and refunding bonds, York University Project Series 2, 2022, in the principal amount not to exceed $10 million for the purpose of making a loan to York University, authorizing the execution and delivery of certain documents in connection with the issuance of such bonds and approving related matters. Colleen was in contact with me this morning at 6 o'clock this morning as I was out walking, and she was not gonna brave the roads. I did not blame her for doing that. Once again, we can call her. I do have her cell phone number if we have any questions. This is something very similar that we did for the hospital. It runs through us at no cost to the county. It's just a good gesture on our part to let this run through. They've already done everything. Everything's in order as far as I know. And we should have had that information to you. Anybody have any questions regarding this? Go ahead.
Just a clarification or reiteration, I guess, in that when we see a government entity doing a bond, everybody wonders, okay, how's this being funded? Who's going to pay for it? But like you said, there's no cost to the county, no taxpayer cost for this. It's just helping get them the bond rate that they can have.
Yep, and as she stated, this document, this resolution, is almost identical to the one we did. You know, I'm sure she would give us a farming analogy about not reinventing the wheel. You know, they have it on PDF, and there we go. So this is what we have. I'd entertain a motion to adopt a resolution.
So move.
Thank you, Kurt.
Second.
Thank you, Bill. Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Bolton?
Yes.
Bosworth?
Yes.
Sykes?
Yes.
Brooks?
Yes.
And Overmark.
Yes. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Harv, jump back to you.
Thanks.
All the figures was correct on the bonds or on the bids, and I would recommend that we go with Van Kirk's at the $320 $27,776 is what my recommendation would be.
Okay,
And they will have it done by June,
okay.
so there you go.
You all right?
Van Kirk.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
I just, these numbers were a little bit higher than what was estimated. I mean, obviously, we can't, an estimation is an estimation, and the
Right.
bidders have their, way of bidding, but it was just slightly higher
Right.
than what we
Right.
had, in the estimations. Does this, I mean, not that there's anything we can do, will this play with our budget numbers too much, or, I mean, it
No,
shouldn't?
it's going to come in fairly close, because the other one was lower than I
Okay.
estimated,
Perfect, okay.
so.
Very
And
good.
I think I estimated this at almost 350, so if
Okay.
anything, we're gonna be just slightly lower than what my estimations was,
Okay,
I think.
yep. I would make the motion that we approve the, bid of Van Kirk for the box culvert on Road K between 4 and 5, to be completed, with a deadline of June 2023.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Brooks.
Yes.
Bosworth.
Yes.
Sykes.
Yes.
Holden.
Yes.
Overmeyer.
Yes. Harvey, thank you.
Yep.
I know this was thrown at you at a late date, to help with our capital improvements, and appreciate you getting after it and getting these done.
They happen to be in the right position to get it done.
And it worked for our budget, and we'll be able to make the budget work because we're using the ARPA to buy gravel, so, yeah, we'll be good, but I appreciate you helping out.
Not a problem.
Thank you. Okay, that one's done. Back to Tristan. Kelly brought up something here. If we pay somebody for 6 weeks straight, even if they're part-time, then all of a sudden we have to start paying retirement also.
Okay.
So that will be an additional cost above and beyond on this 17,000, or, I mean,
Right.
do we have any idea how that figures, what that figure is?
Yeah, it's, I can't tell you the percentage, like the employee pays 3
I
point.
did, sorry,
Oh,
I don't.
sorry.
Go ahead.
I did figure that in. I forgot to.
Retirement is in there?
Yep, if you go to the 7th and 8th page, so the 7th page shows the truancy part of things, and on the 7 box, B2 shows retirement at .067 times the 8970.
Okay,
And so, yeah, and then on the next page, it shows for the, diversion side, or the juvenile support side of things, so.
okay, so that is covered out of the 17?
Yes.
Okay,
Yep.
perfect. Well, that was a good catch, Kelly.
And then,
I'm going to go back to the original question I had. You have somebody in mind for this position?
yes.
So it's not like we're gonna be searching, maybe not, maybe, I mean, you have somebody that you feel like is gonna step in and gonna be able to help you out, and they full well know this could be a January to June, and they're okay with that.
Yep, I have spoken with them, and they, understand we wouldn't get the money till January 1st, and it'd run through the fiscal year, and they're open to, just that part, or if I'm able to get more, I've discussed all the kind of options with them, so.
Okay, because obviously, when you come back to this board at some point in time to get the next year's approved,
Right.
and, you know, if there's more costs, it may not fly.
Right.
Which I just want to make sure they know that there is a deadline, you
Yep.
know, as far as we know.
Yep, I've kind of gone through the whole spiel with them and,
Okay.
and told them all of that, and I kind of just wanted to add on to, kind of the restraint of adding a part-time is if we are getting this money from the state and we're showing them that, we are spending all of it and there's no, like major gap, then our allowance of the regular, and not these supplemental grants, but the regular, 2 grants that we get could go up. County is our size, I see their allowances almost double what we are allowed sometimes, and so one of the main primary like objectives coming into the job was maybe to expand on this and see if we can't in the future start to work towards having these part-time positions all the time.
Okay. I guess in my mind, this would be a 6-month trial,
Right.
to prove that it's needed. You know, I know that we went through the former one and we never heard about this needing more help, and now we've heard it. So it would be a cost at nothing to the county to see if it panned out, and then the commissioners would make, the new board of commissioners obviously at that time could make the decision down the road. Okay, any other comments or questions for Tristan at this time? Daniel, do you have any more? Okay, so just to go back over the fact that, you know, if we decide to go this way, I would say that we look at the avenue of running through miscellaneous as being part of that motion. We would know within a week if we're getting it. That does give us another meeting or two, that if that was not possible to run payroll through miscellaneous, then we would probably have a little bit more conversations with Jill and/or to see about amending the budget, you know, at that point in time. I don't think it's necessary. I think we can do it through that. Yeah, Jill felt fairly confident, but I need to talk more with clerk's office. Any other?
I'll just say, I guess I'm still, there was a number of, offices that asked for more employees, and that would have been taxpayer funded. This one is not York County taxpayer funded, so that is helpful, but I guess I'm still, a little leery on adding staff.
Anybody else? I would entertain a motion.
I guess at this time I'd make a motion that we deny the application.
Is there a second to the motion? Give me a little bit more time to think. Is there a second to the motion?
It's one of the loneliest feelings in the world,
If,
Daniel.
okay, I would say the motion dies for a lack of a second. I would make a motion at this point in time to grant the filing of the grant. And if we are successful with the filing of the grant, that monies that comes in runs through miscellaneous as a payroll, and that will be the grant, the terms of the grant are from January through June 31st.
Second.
Any other discussion?
And to be clear, that's when the employment of this position would end?
Yes.
Okay. Barring another grant or anything like that?
There just have to be more approval from this board,
For another
yes.
grant? Okay.
We have to add no taxpayer funds involved at all.
That's, I mean, I don't know that has to be part of it, any other discussion? Roll call, Kelly.
Obermeyer,
Yes.
Sykes,
Yes.
Paulsberger,
Yes.
Holgren,
Yes.
and Rhodes.
No.
Okay. Let us know.
Okay.
Does it need
Just your signature on the back.
yours too? Nope. Okay, I see it there.
Yep.
Okay, we'll get it today.
Awesome, thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Discuss and act a resolution adopting and approving the execution of a master agreement with the Department of Transportation of the State of Nebraska with County Surveyor Services. Rex, you are here.
And I did have Chris read through it, and he said it was good.
Okay. This was not in our meeting.
Oh, I thought I sent it to you.
The land surveyor?
Yeah, it's right
We
there.
had something to, you know,
It wasn't the full
Yeah, I don't
agreement,
know
it
that
just
the
hit the
agreement-
highlights of the agreement.
Gotcha. Like 3-page document,
Yes,
DOT letterhead.
yeah. And our-
so Chris has read through it. Rex did stop and talk with me yesterday. Rex, go ahead.
Yeah, there were just several things that in the document that, for me, left questions unanswered. There was a few words I thought they left out. Going to the document itself, if you have it, on page 1 of 5. Item D, it says to perpetuate existing corners, landmarks along public highways. In the past, when the Department of Transportation did Highway 34 back in 95, 97, where they were taking additional right-of-way, they hired a private contractor to come in, and every place there was a, like in a regular track, parcel along the highway, they had the firm come in and move the corners from where the existing right-of-way was out to where the new right-of-way was at. And it didn't involve me as a county surveyor locating the section corners that are in the highway. So they really, to me, that kind of left a question is, are they expecting the county to start doing that if they take additional right-of-way? They talk on down in, under F, the identifying the corners and the, as far as their notice, in the past, they've sent a contract to the board to sign, and you get reimbursed back. They have not always sent advance notice, and I don't know if I have it marked. But they're asking for, they're not clarifying what they are in their contract, they're not clarifying how much notice that they're gonna give the county. They just said that there would be, advanced notice, and I guess it's under item N, for each highway project, the state will provide county reasonably advanced notice of upcoming highway projects. The county intends to promptly complete the work required under this master agreement. the way they word that there, it's like they expect the county to drop all other work that they have scheduled and go do their project. And I've always told her when we've gotten the contract, and I've contacted the person out of the Grand Island office about it, I've told them I'd like at least 120 days advance notice of projects. And they're kind of leaving that reasonable advance notice kind of open as to their leisure, I guess. So,
In the pages that we did get, Rex, that, you know, they show the current practice is NDOT is not always as efficient in getting the contract drafted, so they're saying they didn't do a good job, is they're often pushing the county to expedite the contract, and then this usually means county surveyor gets the assignment later than preferred with a short completion deadline, in which we did, I believe, have on one of ours. So in the words of promptly can be up for interpretation.
Kind of that big deal.
Absolutely. My prompt is not Rex's prompt, is not Randy's prompt.
So we'll probably be okay there. This is, as we talked yesterday, this is a 5-year agreement if we sign on to it. It does increase the payment where we was getting $100. They're
Yes.
saying now we're getting $300,
Yes.
which is getting us a little bit, at least reclaiming,
yes.
you know, your time and effort to that. Was there any others then? I can't remember.
They, in the past, in their, you know, in their contract, it says for, prior to the start of highway projects for construction, reconstruction, resurfacing, or maintenance. In the past, they have never contacted us when the maintenance office, like does an armor coat. If it's just an armor coat, it's probably not a big deal. The monument gets covered up, but it's still there. The problem was a few years ago, when they had a Highway 34 York West scheduled, they took it out of their one-year plan and give it basically to their maintenance to come in and do a armor coat or something. Well, when they did that, they did what was like micro milling. They come in and mill the surface. Well, when they did that, they give us no notice that they were doing the project, and I just happened to be coming that direction, and they had already milled out probably 40% of the monuments. So if they're going to start, you know, that's wonderful, but so yeah, I guess if, you know, if, as long as you're happy with it,
My opinion would be that if you have some issues as the county surveyor with this, that we, and you said you'd already contacted, did you contact that Jody that was
I
signed
haven't
on here?
contacted her. I've typically, when you've gotten the contracts before, I contact the contract agent with the Department of
Okay.
Roads and find out who the project manager is, and then start a conversation with them, is okay, when's the work actually gonna begin, and that type of thing. So hopefully that we can still do that, so.
Well, I would say that if there are some things that really, I mean, I'm personally not so concerned about the promptly and stuff like Chris just stated, you know, those are words for interpretation. If there are some other things in here about you know, you talked about the existing corners or the maintenance, those are some things that we want more clarification, and we would hold up any acting on this and get
Okay.
some, I'm assuming the state's gonna take the stance, this is our contract.
That's typically what they do.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I know several years ago, the county had asked for, because that $100 has been in effect for 25 years, it says, I know the county had asked for more money from them, and they said, this is our contract, you either accept it or we don't pay you at all. And I know they stipulated some statutes in here as what this all falls under. I found it interesting that also in the statutes, and one of the ones that they make note of, preservations during construction of other work. It says whoever's doing a project, basically, it may cause the loss or destruction of any landmark or corner is to employ the county surveyor of the county wherein they are situated to promptly perpetuate and witness the corners. So it's like they're wanting to ignore that they're required by statute to employ the county surveyor to go do it. So when they came back before and said, well, you either do it or accept our contract or we're not gonna give you anything. So, well, they're not complying with the law either, so.
And that would be up to us to bring that to their attention when that does happen. Because she does talk about this in the letter, that the new process will continue in effective partnership between NDOT and the county and assist the county in meeting its statutory obligations. So they are pointing out that it is our obligation statutorily to take
Right.
care of this.
Yeah. So if you want me to work with Chris and I bounce a few things off of him and whether he thinks it's noteworthy to
At least ask,
ask that,
we can, and we can postpone anything on this for, until the next meeting if
that's
you
fine.
want.
So,
Does anybody else have any other
Whatever you
questions?
Hey, Chris, if that statute is so ambiguous there that you can't make heads or tails of it, can you contact the AG's office and get a ruling on it?
Probably not. It's probably going to be something the AG's office says, well, file a lawsuit, and a judge will make a ruling on it, otherwise it's contact your legislature.
Okay.
AG's office reserves ruling on most things. It's easier to say if it's that big of a deal, go to a judge.
Was he reelected?
No.
Okay.
like I say, the Department of Roads has, they have one or two attorneys assigned from the AG's office to that agency, so they already have an attorney in-house that probably goes through all this, so.
You got two attorneys, you got three opinions.
Yeah.
Only three?
So I guess it would be my opinion that, our county surveyor does have some questions, let him ask the right people, and then we can bring this back at a later date.
Good.
Okay? So
Thank you.
entertain a motion to postpone any action.
So moved. Second.
Thank you. Any other discussion?
Just
Roll call, please.
I think I have some stuff.
Sykes?
Yes.
Rhodes?
Yes.
Bolden?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, next up is discuss and act on clarifying the county insurance. Ben, I'll ask you to come forward if you would after the last meeting. And we approved the rates that was in front of us. There was an error, and Ben, I'll let you explain maybe what happened there.
Yeah. Good morning. I received the implementation paperwork after we spoke last time. We was reviewing that compared to what we had presented and found that the plan that was presented actually did not have a copay for doctor's office visits. And so went back to the company and pointed out the error. They sent us then some revised rates. And so the plan that does have a copay that does match what the county has currently with a $0 copay for doctor's office visits is 1.6% increase rather than the 0.85% reduction. So I apologize, embarrassed about it, and but yet I wanted to make sure we brought it to your attention as soon as before going out and meeting with the employees tomorrow.
Does anybody have any understand the when he's talking about no? I mean, there would have been, the employee would have started paying every office visit going to their deductible, and so there would have been no copay that they would have enjoyed or for whatever. So I guess I agree with Ben that we should bring this back in front just to make sure the board all knows what's going on. I think that we would have undoubtedly took the 1.6% increase as a relatively cheap one. It doesn't sound quite as good as the other one, but to keep the benefit to the same the employee. And we did budget 15% as an increase this year, so the budget-wise is fine on that respect. So, Daniel?
Just a couple quick questions, and I don't know if you know have those numbers in front of you. The amount that we will, versus what we approved or what was presented versus what, with the zero copay, that dollar amount in premium, it would be less than what the, doctor's office visits would be for the employee's cost. Am I making that clear? Where I'm trying to go with this, so we fund $1,000 of their deductible, correct? 2,000?
They
do
the
the
employee
first?
pays first 1,000.
Okay, all right, okay. And so where I was going was, would it make sense to go with a copay? But if I had it the other way around, so they would have to fund that 1,000 before. So this 1.6% versus the other one, that number's probably, what would that be? $10,000?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Somewhere in there? Yeah,
Yeah.
it's all right. So that was just where I was going, but I had the
Okay.
flipped around. I was thinking we paid the first and they were the second, so.
Anybody else? Okay. I do need a motion. To accept the revised numbers.
So move, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Kurt.
Second.
Thank you, Daniel. Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Holgren,
Yes.
Gross,
Yes.
Bosford,
Yes.
Sykes,
Yes.
Overmark.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Appreciate your
Ben.
understanding.
Okay. One last thing. Discuss and act on options regarding East 4th Street from Main to Road End. And as I read briefly in the newspaper this morning, it said the county board was gonna look at this again. I would have hoped it would have said the county board is gonna look at this for the last time, and just get it done. So here we are. Daniel, I kinda turned it over to Daniel a couple months ago, and as we find out, that things just take longer than what we expect, so. Go ahead, Daniel.
So, yeah, like we had discussed before and had looked at Harvey's, recommendations and, cost estimates, in the multiple discussions that I've had, talking to both the city and with Harvey and county attorney and, I guess I'm not in favor of, one of the options was closing the road. I'm not necessarily in favor of closing roads, I guess. It is it is a road that is traveled. And so I guess my recommendation would be to, leave the road where it's at. We need to do some work on the, east end to make sure that the, water drains correctly. And we need to, establish the correct, right-of-ways with the landowners so that we have the, public right-of-ways. But my recommendation would be to, to leave the road where it's at, do the necessary, road work to keep the water running in the, direction that it needs to keep the road open, and, work with the, adjacent landowners to obtain the necessary right-of-ways to make it a public road.
I will say, go ahead, Jack.
Well, I have a couple questions. Number one, when was that piece of property ever accepted by the county as a road. It was intended to be a driveway to
Sure.
those people's properties out there. Bob George was one of them. The city has recently issued a building permit, which they have the legal right to do. But I think if people would look back on the newspapers here a couple of years, they talked about there being 3 plumes going underneath the city of York, that several places were ordered basically, or the amount to hook them up to city water because the water was so bad. Now they're gonna put a piece of property out there that they're gonna have to drill a well. There's no city water out there.
Yeah, there is.
There is. How did that get through?
They did a loop.
So the city put a city water line out there, correct? Is there
Agree.
any intentions on the city's part to annex that area out there? Because it's obviously gonna change the property values out there, is it not?
Right, correct.
And they're going to want to pay 100% on that house, the taxes, where the ag land is only paying 70% or 72% or whatever it is. So there is some benefits to somebody out there, obviously. But I'm just curious as to, what's the city's intention? Are they intending on annexing that property out there?
I did have some discussions with Sue. She had some discussions with Barry and some on the council. They, at this point in time, they were not ready to accept responsibility for that area, but I don't know, I don't know that I could say that it's never gonna happen.
Yeah. But the county will take the expense of doing whatever they're gonna do out there on that road.
Right,
And then the city's gonna wanna annex it.
Correct.
They want access to their well field out there, which we all understand. But the city's been maintaining that road or that piece of property, I won't call it a road. Just because somebody stuck a sign out there and said East 4th Street, don't make it a road.
Right, right. I think from what I understand, the county has been maintaining
Yes,
the road.
they have been maintaining it. We're wonderful people for doing it.
Right, yep.
In all fairness, Mr. Babcock is the landowner out there now. He did stop in and see me at the shop. He is the one that's building the new house that you see out there, and then will eventually sell the acreage that he's currently living on. His opinion was he'd love to see it closed. I mean, I don't differ with his opinion as far as if I lived out there too, who wouldn't want to live on a dead-end road, but when Mr. Babcock bought it, it wasn't closed. I mean, it was thought to be an open road, so, and he was encouraged to come and visit whenever he could. Obviously, our meetings sometimes aren't the most easy to attend for some. I do have a question, Harvey. When we originally was talking about doing some work out there, the figure was let's just say it was 125, I can't remember, but it was there. And then the revised numbers that Daniel had shared was, like 40,000 or something is that the basic, the minimal? I mean, putting the culvert in, getting the road up just a little bit so it drains, everything drains properly. Is that what that number included?
That is what that number included, and it was not getting any right of way. It was throwing a culvert across the road, hauling dirt in over top of where the road is now.
Okay.
Is the road gonna be up to standard? No. So you would still be out there hanging out for liability. So if you close it at the east end of Babcock's property, then you're on a dead-end road. You cut your liability down for the county because you don't have as much traffic run on road that isn't all the way up to specs on everything.
When we talk about a right-of-way, when the county went through and did all our other roads, it's my understanding that property owner on land A owns to the center of the road.
That's true.
We don't acquire any property, right?
Yes, they own it, but they do not pay taxes.
They don't pay
on it.
taxes, right? So there wouldn't be any dollar amount to acquire a right-of-way, we would just say this is the right-of-way, and then we'd build the proper road, and if we built the proper road, would we be back to that other figure?
No.
I
I
think,
mean, would we be back to which figure?
Originally, you were estimating, $125,000.
Right, okay. When we started talking about this again, I went back and looked at other projects that would acquire the same scope of work to get this done.
Right.
Roughly the same amount. That's when I come up with these new figures of about $145,000 to do this without getting a right of way.
Okay. Go ahead.
was those original figures, I think, was, moving the road, so right now the road lays to the south of the
Right.
center of the, and so I think that 150 to 200,000 was completely removing the road, moving it north, so it was perfectly half-section road. Whereas if we leave the road where it's at, yeah, it's not technically perfectly where it should be, but there would be a significant less dirt work to
Okay.
be done.
But we're still gonna have our standard width road.
No.
We are not.
But can we?
Can we?
Right, that,
If you're going to go there, you take the property on the south side. You are going to, if you're gonna go up to a standard width road, you're gonna, and leave it where it is, you are gonna have to retain more right of way going to the south on everybody, all the way across there, is what it is. That's where your top figures are up there.
Okay.
Because you're gonna have to move power lines, you're gonna have to move phone lines, you're gonna have to move all this stuff to put a up to standard road where it is laying now and using where the center of the road is currently right now and expanding out both ways. You've got power lines that have to be moved. You've got phone boxes that are gonna have to be moved out. That is what's gonna happen. You've got trees that are gonna have to come down too. You're still gonna have to move the dirt because you have no ditches. So, yes, you are gonna be looking at least 145,000 plus the extra cost of moving trees, moving power lines, all that stuff to leave it where it lies now.
Okay, so then my question to you would be, are there other, what I would call irregular roads? I mean, are we statutory obligated to have the 66-foot wide road? Or are there other roads that aren't as wide? That wouldn't open, the liability part is where you're getting me.
Right.
Opening us up to liability.
Right. Right off the top of my head that I can think of in this county, no, I do not. I
Unless they're
cannot
minimum
think of
maintenance.
one. Well, the minimum maintenance roads are still the 66-foot right of way. They are still the wide roads at 26 to 28 feet wide. So you still have all this going on that way. But I don't know of any other roads in this county that are laying and built like this one is.
And how far off of the 66-foot are we? Did we ever, I don't remember pulling a tape measure across there. Rex, you're raising your hand, do you know?
The easements that were granted across the north side of that quarter and 80 was for 33 feet. So from the quarter section line, there's basically, there's an easement for access for those people 33 feet wide.
Okay, that's for the west half. The west,
It's basically the entire 3/4 of a mile.
okay,
The center of the section is just east of where that box culvert is at, if you're familiar with it.
Yes.
And then, so you've got from there a half a mile east to that road and a quarter mile west to Main Street. As far as your comment about closing it, I don't know that you could legally barricade it because the easements are granted to the people that live out there. And so they have legal right to use it as a driveway. So I don't know that you could terminate their access out of there.
They would still have access.
Yeah.
Coming in from the east or from the west.
Yeah, their easement goes both ways though. So, not saying they wouldn't still have access, but there again, it's, I guess it'd be a question for your attorney that whether you could close it and stop them from using their easement. A question for Harvey. Do they still have a classification for Sand Hills roads?
Yes, they do, in the Sand Hills.
So that can't be used here?
I don't believe so.
Okay.
So back to, do we have any idea, Harv, how close we are with the 66 foot? I mean, what that road measures, do we know? I mean, roughly, because I know, I don't remember us pulling across there.
I pulled the tape on the road, and I think that the power poles are at the 33 feet, if I recall correctly, on ones on the south side that go in and feed the Babcock place.
Babcock Place, okay.
So the width of that road is, I don't know. I would just be pulling the number out of the areas, all I'd be doing. I'm not comfortable doing that.
Okay, because, I mean, it doesn't seem like it's that
Right.
much narrow, or, like it's,
It's all built on half of the right-of-way of what normal county roads are,
okay.
is what it is.
But it's built on the south half of the right of way, right?
It is built on the south half, because that was what was deeded, from what
Right.
Rex was telling us earlier. It was all deeded to get back to the Babcock property or that east property before you got to the last chunk, the last quarter.
Okay.
On that easement, was it for the Babcock people to go east, or was it for the house that's set on the east quarter to go east?
There was easements to the,
I thought that you said there was one easement allowing somebody to go to the east.
it seemed like there was more than one easement granted out there. I don't have that, I didn't bring that folder with me, so, but it seemed like I remember deeds for that west 80 and in that southeast quarter, there were easements granted to individuals in both of those tracts of ground. I didn't look to see, if they went to a specific person, because I was looking back basically 80-some years ago when they were
Okay.
first granted, so.
Oh, you got something, Bill?
I just wanted to say, it's never been a road. And I think if we leave it open like it is, and it's not annexed by the city, I still think we're looking at a big liability issue as far as the county. I don't know how much traffic is on that road, but I cannot see going through there the way, even leaving it the way it is. I think we've been very lucky in the past as far as the liability issue. And I can't, looking at at your thoughts, Harvey, on between option 4 and 5, I have a hard time realizing that you're gonna be able to do 4 for another 10,000 more than 5. I'm still for just barricading that thing at the end of the property, give those people that access, and leave it the way it is. Just the other people, and I understand, you have some land over there too, that there's still access to the city and to the property owners off the road in.
But if there's, as Rex is pointing out, if there's an easement going the other way, then, I mean, legally, we can't do that.
Okay, what's the problem of eliminating the easement? Can you do that? No?
The easement was from the previous landowner to current, well, it might be, I didn't look at the new deeds or whatever, but when it was first created, the easements were granted from the landowner to individuals. And you can't, I don't think you can terminate somebody's private easement.
You can buy it.
Yeah. And are we looking at an issue here where we've talked about the county shouldn't be doing construction work on someone's private property, and are we essentially doing that? I think until we get the legalities of it figured out, we probably shouldn't be dropping any coin on this thing.
I think we're opening up a can of worms just the way it is now.
With, I mean, there are some statutes in where after you've assumed the, responsibility for it for X number of years, then you do have responsibility for it. I don't know, Chris, if you have any thoughts on that as far as, if we've been maintaining it for 10+ years, can we just walk away and?
Not without a lawsuit,
Right.
eminent domain, or adverse possession. Adverse possession is something that, I mean, it's been done in the past, usually it's private landowner to private landowner. But I wouldn't see anything that the county couldn't do that. Probably be nicer to negotiate with the landowners along the south if necessary.
Right. Now, if we just say, okay, we don't want a responsibility of it, we weren't supposed to have a responsibility for it, we're done, we're washing our hands of it, can we do that now that we've maintained it for 10+ years?
Maybe. And I say maybe because there's never anything that's 100% liability free.
Sure.
Ultimately, if we were to vacate it, I was just reading through some of the statutes in chapter 39. It looks like there is some possibilities on vacating the road or perhaps punting the road back to the city, but then we would have to call it a road. And at this point, judging by at least some of the comments that have been made, it's in doubt whether or not it's actually a road as defined. So we can't exactly give a road that's not a road. I think Mr. Olson's been doing most of the research on this. I wouldn't feel comfortable giving a definite answer without reading much more thoroughly.
Right. Yep.
But if that relinquishing rights to the road and giving it to the city is something the board wants to look at, I did locate the statute and it looks like it's something that takes 120 days plus notice, among other things. So if that's something the board wants to look at, I did locate that.
Wouldn't the city have to be, I mean, we're dealing with county-owned property on either side of the road. We're not dealing with, the city doesn't own any, they own property out there, but it's still rural, it's not.
Right.
It's not been annexed into the city.
I think that very west end, where that acreage, that household is on the north side of the road, I think that the property south of that house, I think has been annexed.
Right.
Yeah.
But the majority of it is still rural.
No, there's been dedications by the people that have the property out there, when they replatted that ground, the city required them to dedicate the right-of-way to the public. There again, it doesn't necessarily mean it's an open road, but the only, like I said, the only alternative to you wanting to close the road is, and there again, that would be an expense, is you basically gate the ends and give the key to the people that use it, that have the easements. Then you could keep the public from, because I know I've heard when I was out there, locating some of the, where the right-of-way was at, that, I know somebody was complaining that, I don't know, it really wasn't a complaint, but they were saying when the ball program is going on out there, that road is used heavily by people coming out of York to go to the ball games. So.
They go to Road N, right? When they're
Yeah.
coming out of that ballpark
Yeah.
thing out there, they go to Road N and then south to the Catholic cemetery.
No, they come down that road.
The local York people come back in on what is now East 4th Street. The people that are going back down towards the interstate usually go back down to the Catholic cemetery too. Come in on those.
Therefore, again, you still have the liability issue.
Okay. Any other comments? I guess, you know, what I would be looking for today is, this board to decide whether we're gonna, which route we're gonna go. Are we gonna go the route of trying to figure out how we keep it open? Or the route of, it doesn't sound like it's gonna be as easy with the easements and stuff like that to just shut it down. I mean, but we need to figure out which route we're gonna go. And then we work towards that. Work towards it. Doesn't sound like it's gonna be cut and dried either way. Sure doesn't sound like. Does it sound like that to you, Harvey?
Doesn't sound like that to me.
No, it doesn't to me either, especially when we're dealing with easements and stuff like that that have already been there, so, and that would be, you know, getting the county attorney's office and stuff helping us.
Yeah, I would like to see, I guess, knowing that, I think that we should look into what options we have for, roads as far as, you know, if we can find something where, we can have some leeway in our standard 66-foot, right of way, and, get, a little bit more clarification on what the, easements are in a goal of keeping the road open. So
Did you hear a motion?
Do you want that?
You heard a motion?
Well, I wrote
You're
everything
writing
down.
stuff down, huh?
I don't know. Because as soon as you say you're something else, I'm gonna be like, okay.
Wait, so yeah, so I would make a motion, in that the goal would be to keep the road open, and working with the county attorney's office, the highway superintendent to see what options are for the roads, for standard width right-of-ways if we have any variance in our 66 feet.
Second.
And so that would be to keep the road open and become a platted county road, right? Okay,
Where it's at or moving it.
that's gonna be part of his options.
Right.
But I think it's the goal to keep it open and become a platted county road versus try to figure out how to go the other way.
Lets me know where to research. So,
Yeah.
good.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Gross.
Yes.
Borgren.
Yes.
Osberger.
No.
Sykes.
No,
And Overmark.
Yes. Okay. Well, it won't be for the last time, but at least we know we know the road we're going on, Thank you. Okay, we are down. There was a young lady back there, but she took off, so we never did
She
hear.
might have been with the bids here for the box culvert.
Okay. So United Way, and I don't know anything about that, so I guess we'll just buzz on by it. We're gonna be down to committee reports. Who's got something they wanna start on? Bill, you wanna start?
I really don't have anything, Mr. Chairman. I'm looking forward to the NACO conference, I guess. I'll have to go around. Other than that, I haven't attended any meetings or anything other than the board meeting.
Okay. Jack?
I don't have anything other than personal problems with my family.
Okay then. Do you want the owl left on or off during this? Oh,
I'm
that's too
sorry.
bad.
Sorry to hear that. Where was he from? Or where was he at?
Florida.
Florida? Was he,
Okay.
had he been ill?
No, he got knocked down in the parking lot.
Wow. Crime wave, huh?
Crime wave.
Yeah. I'm sorry to hear that, Jack.
Yes. Daniel?
So, YCDC, we're going through, setting up the budget for next year, so I think the executive committee is getting close on, finalizing that. I don't know that this is really anything to, act on in the near future, but something to kind of think about. Came up in our, meeting with Harvey this morning, the tables, the picnic tables that are out front, that we, put into storage during the winter time. There was some discussion of putting them in other places, not down here. It seemed, did we talk about that? And it seemed like somebody, maybe, people did want them brought back down here. Just something to think about for next spring when we bring them out of, storage again.
They originally came from a service organization, grant money from a service organization. And there was some talk about putting them someplace else, but
Yep.
I don't know that ever materialized. I do know that we have people use them.
Mhm.
And, we have one uses them pretty regular,
Mhm.
but,
Daily.
yeah, maybe not today. I don't know, you go check. But I know we do have some of our people that do use them, so is there room? Is there a problem with storing
No,
at the roads
not
department?
currently, correct.
Okay.
Yep.
You said that was fine.
Okay. It's just that where would they go again?
Right.
Okay.
Yep.
And I guess until they contact and say something.
Right.
Mr. Postier is who was
Okay.
at the forefront of that, so I guess we could always ask
Sure.
him sometime too.
Okay.
Okay.
And then, I talked to, Randy a little bit about this, and so I thought I'd throw it out to this board. I know that in the past, there hasn't, maybe in the far past, there was a practice of having a board picture. It's kind of been not the practice lately, but, if the tech committee's gonna talk this afternoon and, an ongoing discussion of revamping the website. So I was just thinking that as we do that, I'm a very visual person, so I kind of like to be able to see things. So I was wondering if this board would have thoughts on, if the board's gonna change next year, so before that happens, to have history of what this board was, 21, 22, maybe having a board picture in one of the next two meetings. Just thought I'd throw that out there and see what everybody's thoughts were. And then we'd do another one then after, when the new board was set, so it'd have a current photo.
Called a rogues gallery, right?
There you go.
Well, let's just plan on doing it next meeting then.
Next meeting?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm sure, Melanie in the
Melanie
past has
has taken
taken our
pictures.
personal
Okay,
pictures
great.
for news
Yeah.
articles.
Well, and then doesn't the YCDC, don't they have a day where they sponsor,
Yeah,
Uh,
they do. Yep.
someone to come in and take pictures, and just
Yep.
members, YCDC members can have like professional shots done for their business. And that might not be a bad idea for the courthouse to consider too, so. Cause I agree with you, it's nice to have,
Right.
not just the board, but the treasurer, and the
Yep,
clerk,
yep.
and all those folks on there.
The,
So,
the picture that's on the website doesn't show the addition either.
right.
Oh, right, yes.
That's,
Yep.
could be updated, I think.
Oh, yeah, so it's on the wall over there, I
Oh,
think, is
yeah,
what's
sure enough.
on the website, probably. Or the Facebook page.
It's like that picture
Yeah.
there, right, yeah.
And then, so on that, tech committee meets this afternoon,
Cool. We're meeting this afternoon,
1:00.
1:00.
Anything else, Daniel?
That's all I have for today.
Kurt?
Tech committee, 1:00. I think, yeah, I think it was last meeting, the evening, we had Blue Valley, yeah, so I went to that meeting. It was here in New York. We have a send meeting coming up here, I think, first week of December. And I think that's all I have planned, except for the convention here next month, heading to that, so.
Good.
Yeah, I've seen the motor graders out and about, so it's good to see them keeping up the good work out there.
Well,
That's all I got.
to make your day and to make Bill's day, I was contacted by a group, Nebraska Easement Action Team. And they have requested time to come and visit us December 27th. This team consists of Jane Klebe, Tom Gunning, and Shelley Meyer. So I believe that's your last meeting, Bill, and yours also, so.
That muffler belt's getting changed that day. It's not gonna be able to make it.
Muffler belt, okay. So, just that, they will, I'm not sure, landowner organization, yeah. Let your mind take where they're gonna go with it, so there's that. A little bit of insurance also, our medical loss ratio last year. The last year, we had received like $15,000 back. There's a ratio in there that insurance companies can only make so much on you by law, and if they go over that, then they have to reimburse. That is money that comes back to the county, and that is for the traditional insurance carriers within the county, not the HSA, not the non-traditional. So last year, if you remember correctly, we gave each employee about $100, or right at $100, roughly this time of year. And so I will have this on the agenda, I believe, next time, and that would be for the last pay period of the month. There's no deductions taken out of that third one, and so then that'd be easier for the clerk's office to maintain. So I will come with a recommendation at that time, but like I say, we got double back this year on that one. So either we were healthier than they expected, or they overcharged us. I'm guessing one, because I kind of know how healthy we are. So that's where we're at on that. Reminder to all employees, I don't know if any of them are watching, but open enrollment will be ending here soon. As Ben stated earlier, they're going to be going around having meetings and explaining all that, and that is for our dental and vision and everything also. I believe I have an advisory 911 meeting tomorrow. Hopefully get to go to NACO. It's a little bit in jeopardy right now, but hopefully get to go at some point. Do you have anything, Kelly? You need to talk to Kurt and myself about the billing, okay, for the postcards. So don't, if you're gonna run away, don't run too far. Anybody have anything else? He's already got his briefcase.
I just said
Jokes?
That money would be in lieu of the.
Do you have the revised? Okay, that's fine.
You
He
guys.
can find that when he, afterward.
We're gonna break you two up. There are about 2 more meetings, aren't we, Kelly?
Yes, we are.
Break him up for good. Okay, We're good?
Good.
Karen?